Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I never imagined that the person I trusted the most could completely turn my world upside down. My name is Alex, I'm 29, and for the past 2 years I thought my fiancée, Samantha, and I were building a future together. We were the kind of couple people envied. Friends said we were perfect for each other, colleagues admired how we balanced careers and love, and honestly I believed every word I told myself about us. I never thought a single misstep, a single lie, could lead to the kind of nightmare I was about to face. It all started with what seemed like a minor argument. We were planning our wedding, which honestly I was excited about, but Samantha had been distant for weeks. Little things began to bother me. Her phone always face down on the table, secretive conversations, sudden trips with work friends. I brushed it off, telling myself maybe she's stressed, maybe I'm being paranoid. But there's a small voice that warns you when things aren't right, and I should have listened. I didn't. Not even close. The night everything escalated began innocently enough. We were having dinner with a few close friends at a local restaurant, celebrating a promotion of one of her colleagues. I thought everything was normal. Samantha was calm, smiling, chatting with everyone, and I felt a little relieved that maybe I was overthinking things. We returned home and she suggested we watch a movie before bed. I went along, thinking maybe I was imagining tension where there was none. Big mistake. Around midnight there was a knock at the door. I remember thinking it was strange, no one usually visits that late. When I opened it, 2 police officers were standing there. My heart sank before they even spoke. They told me I was under arrest. I froze. My mind couldn't catch up with reality. What? This must be a mistake, I stammered, shaking, trying to process what was happening. I had never been in trouble with the law in my life. I'm a responsible person. I've never hurt anyone. I've never broken a law. And yet, they were saying they had a warrant and that I was accused of assault. Assault? Me? That made no sense. Before I could gather my thoughts, I saw her, Samantha, standing behind the officers with that cold, almost amused expression on her face. And then the words that would haunt me for months: have fun in jail, love. I blinked, hoping I misunderstood. Maybe she was joking? Maybe this was some cruel prank? But the officers were serious, and her smirk told me everything I needed to know. She had orchestrated this. My fiancée, the woman I trusted more than anyone, had lied, manipulated, and framed me to get me arrested. Just like that, my life, which I thought was stable and predictable, turned into chaos in a matter of seconds. Sitting in the back of the patrol car, handcuffed, I felt the world crumble around me. People stared as we drove past, some with curiosity, some with pity. I could feel the humiliation eating away at me. I kept thinking, how could she do this? How could someone I loved, someone I promised to spend my life with, betray me in the most public, humiliating way possible? I was numb, confused, and angry all at once. And every time I looked at her, her face blank, unremorseful, I realized she had planned this meticulously. At the station, the officers read me my rights, and the gravity of the situation hit me like a ton of bricks. I was being charged with something I didn't do. But the legal system doesn't stop to consider innocence in the moment. You are what the evidence shows. And right now, the evidence was fabricated, meticulously created by the person I loved. I kept asking for explanations, for her to tell the truth, but she didn't flinch. Not even once. The sneer, that cold, calculated look, haunted me even more than the thought of spending nights in a cell. Sitting in that holding cell, I began replaying the past months in my head. The small inconsistencies I had dismissed, the lies I had laughed off, the excuses I had believed, all of it suddenly made sense. I wasn't paranoid. I had been blind. She had been manipulating me, shaping my trust, and then striking at the perfect moment. The humiliation, the fear, the complete loss of control, it was all part of her plan. And the worst part? She didn't even hide it. She wanted me to feel powerless. She wanted to show me that she could destroy everything I loved, and she succeeded. Time moves differently in jail. Minutes feel like hours. Each moment is heavy with dread, with the constant question: what's next? I couldn't call anyone. I couldn't explain to my friends, my family, what had happened. Every knock on the door, every conversation I overheard, felt like confirmation that I was trapped in a nightmare crafted by someone I trusted. And all the while, Samantha's face remained in my mind. That smirk, that cruel satisfaction, she wanted me to break. She wanted me to realize how much power she had over me. And she did. I did. I felt broken. But as the hours passed, a strange thing began to happen. Anger replaced fear. Pain transformed into clarity. I realized something critical. She might have tried to trap me, to humiliate me, to prove some twisted point, but I was still here. I was alive, I was conscious, and I had the ability to fight back. The law might have been temporarily manipulated, but she hadn't destroyed my life completely. I still had my mind, my family who would believe me, my friends who knew my character. And most importantly, I had the chance to turn this betrayal into strength. By the time my bail was posted, I was no longer the same person who had walked into our apartment that night. Fear and disbelief had turned into resolve. I would prove my innocence. I would make sure that Samantha's manipulation didn't define my life. I would take back the control she tried to steal. And when I saw her again, standing there with that same cold expression, I didn't feel helpless. I felt clarity. I saw exactly who she was and what she was capable of. I saw the truth of the person I had loved. And I knew that this chapter of my life, painful as it was, would not be the end. It was the beginning of reclaiming everything she tried to take from me.